The GIBS online global module gave me the opportunity to understand that being part of a global community requires one to stay in touch and in tune with what is happening around us. What really stood out for me was the idea that we are truly globalized as individuals and as South Africans, and that we have the world at our fingertips. My 3 lessons over the 3 days were the following. Firstly, to stay ahead of the game, one needs to be amiable in shifting their mindset. What this means is that holding on to one view can see you fall behind and being criticized as being narrow-minded, as opposed to holding on to several views, being able to challenge yourself and others. This is where you get to learn and understand ideas. That is the difference between leading and lagging. The next lesson I learned was much on the success and failure and how these events have a symbiotic relationship with one another. Being successful requires one to have a certain level of determination and patience, whereas going through failure builds a certain level of resilience from the failure experienced. However, what remains true from these insights is that success and failure require you to have a strong leadership center, a clear strategy, and understanding your why. The final lesson for me was centered exactly around that leadership of self and leadership of others that is not self-centered or self-interested, which is what we see far too often in a country like ours. The CEO of Mediclinic of the UAE, Hein, spoke to how he got to his company to where it is, simply saying you have to be relentless on the need to do better. And this need to do better needs to reflect in every part of the strategy you implement as a leader, where you want to make the whole system better to benefit the whole. So, what lessons can South Africa take from this? Firstly, develop partnerships between government and the private sector, where the execution of strategy specifically on the ground is important. A point with which SABCO CEO Sajid emphasized that strong leadership aligned with strong strategy execution is key. Secondly, South Africa needs to be relentless on wanting to improve the socio-economic rot we see in every part of our economy and society. With the government of national unity in place, there is an opportunity to bring new life, ideas, and policies, amongst other things, to make South Africa great again. When Professor Stiglitz spoke to the next point, reminding us that democracy requires constant work, where again we see the GNU well positioned to do so and is a testimony of democracy in motion. Beyond this is how South Africa repositions itself as Africa's leading contender with the establishment and bolstering of existing partnerships through investments for Africa by Africa, and using the power of BRICS, an intergovernmental organization, to ensure bilateral agreements that benefit the African region. With that said, South Africa needs to take several positions in where they want to stand on issues related to the Israel-Palestinian war and where they want to play in relation to the trade wars between China, US, and Russia.